Welcome, everyone. Malinda Zarate here with Emboldened Heart. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I am very excited. We've got a great special guest here with us today, and I want to welcome any of you who are here for the first time listening to Emboldened Heart. Emboldened Heart was formed just about 3 years ago for the purpose of sharing information, education. It's really an online training academy that its mission and purpose is to bring you information, educate you, and share tools, methods, and processes, as well as information from special guests that will help you to transform your life, to live a more heart-based life, a more joyful, more peaceful, more abundant, and healthful life. And that is the reason we're all here together today, and that is the reason that we have a very special guest. Kerri Kannan is with us today. Hi, Kerri. Welcome.
Hi, Malinda. Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm delighted to have Kerri here today, listeners, because I've known her for quite some time. She and I have been working together for a while. She has been a great supporter of Emboldened Heart, and she's helped me with many things having to do with technology and helping create beautiful pages for you to see and updating my website. But Kerri also has really a very, very special gift, which I feel is so important for her to share with you and with the world. Kerri has a really interesting story, and she'll share it with you. But first, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about her. Kerri has spent the last 22 years of her life exploring consciousness, our relationship to it, and how we can transform our lives by harnessing the power of our own minds. Through her dedication to understanding the nature of consciousness, her perceptual awareness, her spiritual connection, and her understanding of the inherent unity of all things, Kerri has developed a gift that allows her to access the superconscious mind to facilitate shifts in the minds on behalf of her clients with no particular effort on their part other than just their intention to be open to that. All one has to do is sit back and be willing to receive in order for these shifts to happen. So if you're ready to receive a deeper understanding of the nature of consciousness and to allow Kerri to facilitate positive change in your life through her natural gifts and abilities, you're going to love this show. And I personally have experienced Kerri's her consciousness shifting work, and it's actually quite lovely and very, very powerful and profound. I was experiencing myself a really stressful period, got sick, was feeling really bad, and she really helped me to first to understand what was going on, because I think sometimes that really helps us to shift. And then I was able to, through her help, really achieve a state of calm and peace and understanding, and everything began to shift. So I'm a believer, and I'm sure those of you who are listening will also benefit greatly from this today and from her work. So, Kerri, I know you've got a really kind of interesting story, and my listeners really resonate with guest speakers' stories. And if you could take maybe a few minutes and just share with us a little bit about your journey, what brought you to the point where you're doing this work that you're now doing, and how did this all come about?
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's quite a story, and I'm going to condense it as much as I can right now. It all started in around, it started when I was about 22. So I've been actually doing this work for about half my life. in about 1993 or so, I moved to the Cayman Islands, and I really started my personal development work because I wanted to find my spirituality. It was something that I had rejected, sort of my spiritual upbringing of, dogmatic things being, sort of forced upon me.
Mm-hmm.
And I started my own spiritual journey then. And after about 5 years, I met the man that I married, and he had recommended that I figure out what I really wanted to do with my life. And I thought that was an amazing gift. And I was like, okay, if I can do anything, I want to figure out my life purpose. I had been a student of A Course in Miracles, and I read an article by a man named John Snodgrass, and this is back in 1998. And in this article, Dr. Snodgrass said, the article was titled, Your Special Function According to A Course in Miracles. So in the article, Dr. Snodgrass stated that whatever you perceive to be the reality of your guilt, sin, or victimization is the exact opposite of your special function. In other words, what's missing is your gift, your weakness is your strength, and your special dysfunction is your special function. So,
wow.
Yes, and when I read that, I thought, okay, well, what's my special dysfunction? And I've always had body image issues, and I thought, I'm fat. And I was like, well, nope, that's not it. I don't like myself. And I was like, nope, that's not it either. I don't love myself. And when I had that thought, I started jumping up and down around the living room, thanking everyone that ever hurt me, because the polar opposite of I don't love myself is that my special function was that I had to learn how to love myself and teach other people how to love themselves. And like all the bells and whistles went off in my mind. So I realized that from that point forward, that was, the thing that I was meant to do. And I realized that it was my mind, my thoughts, my consciousness that created the experience that I had. And all of the people who had hurt me were actually providing me with the context to understand the content of my thinking. So they were all gifts. And so I spent several years teaching that, and I have a book that I wrote called Uncovering the Divine Within. And I taught self-love, and then I reached a point where I was having some more challenges. And actually before that even, I was very interested in my own personal and spiritual development. So I was also entrenched in the Unity Church. Mm-hmm. And I went, and this is about 10 years ago this is about 2005 that I went to Unity Village through Unity Church, because I wanted to get deeper into my spiritual understanding. So I went for a week-long program, and I don't know if they call it SEE anymore, but it was Spiritual Enrichment and Education or something like that, and it's SEE classes. And each of these classes were 2 hours long for 5 days out of the week. So I took 4 classes, so it was 8 hours of intense spiritual study during that entire week. And I think this is the last class of the day that I was taking when this miracle happened. And the class was called Jesus' Teachings, and it was taught by a woman named Eliza. And on Wednesday, we were studying Jesus' miracles. And on Wednesday and on Tuesday, Eliza was wearing a splint on her hand. On Monday, she was not. And on Wednesday, somebody asked her, why are you wearing the splint on your hand? And she said, I got into a car accident years ago, and, every once in a while my hand hurts. So we are going on Wednesday through all of these miracles. And there was a method to Jesus' madness. And what he did was he would go within, I believe, to align himself, to get into alignment once he was presented with a challenge, and then he would come out with a knowing. And then he would do his theatrics like poke his fingers in people's ears, rub mud in their eyes, spit on their tongue, whatever it was. And people thought that theatrical thing that he did was what created the miracle, because that was kind of the action, that he took to make it happen. But, he was a charismatic guy. And so that was just his little show. But what really created the miracle was the knowing. And it was evident, again, after, miracle after miracle after miracle that we studied, it was obvious that it was the knowing. And he said again and again and again and again that you can do these things as well. I am the Son of Man. And, yes, and we are all connected. And we tend to sort of forget that in our, studies, in our religious studies. But that's what he said. He said, you can do these things as well. These things and greater you can do. And so I knew at the 1 hour mark after we had studied all of these miracles, when we went on break, that I could do anything that he could do, and so could anybody else. Anybody could. And so I went into, I found a little quiet spot and went into meditation for a few minutes, and I asked if there was any way that I could help Eliza with her hand. And I got a yes. And I was like, okay, what do I do? And I got just no. And I was like, really? Just no? And I got just no. I was like, okay. So I go back into the room, and I held her hand and looked her in the eye, and I said, Eliza, I don't know how. I just know that your hand is healed. And somebody else walked in the room and said, your hand is healed already. And then the next day, she did not wear her splint to class. Somebody asked her what was going on, and she said, I woke up this morning, and the pain was completely gone. And like as if since it was better than it's been since before the car accident. And then I didn't say anything then. And throughout the next year, she would send little, Jesus jokes emails and things like that. And I asked her, I said, do you remember that time that I told you that your hand was healed, and then the next day you came into class and it was all better? And she said, yeah. I said, how is it now? Was that permanent? And she said, wow, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's totally fine. So
that's amazing.
That helped me realize that indeed anything that he could do, we could do. So then over the next 10 years, since 2005, I've been trying to figure out how do I replicate that, because, it was like the energy in that room was so high, and I just had that knowing. So during the course of trying to replicate that, I have also come up with a few different methods of sort of facilitating the same type of thing in my own life. And I explain that in something that I call the 5 Keys to Conscious Creation, which we can talk about a little bit later. But I created this, I sort of got a download, sort of a spiritual download when I was going through a challenge. And I said, okay, how do I know that there's a way that I can do this, and there's a method to doing this because people have done it, and this is what everybody teaches. And it always seems to come in little bits and pieces. So let me know what's the cohesive game plan for, facilitating this kind of change in my life. And then I was given this sort of intuitive step-by-step process, and I created this person in my life. I went through the process. I had to get clear on what I wanted, and I knew I wanted a man in my life, but I didn't want a romantic attachment to help me out with financial things. And so I got clear on that, and I wanted him to be either a married or gay, and I wanted him to be my best friend who absolutely adored me, who I adored him, and I also wanted to have an equal gift to share with him, because I felt like, helping me to realize to get my money stuff down was very, very important, and I wanted to offer him something of equal value. So I went through the 5 Keys to Conscious Creation process, and I'll talk about the steps later. And the next day, I was talking to a friend, and she was trying to help me with this business that I was trying to get off the ground. And I said, Nancy, I appreciate all that you're doing for me. I really need somebody who's going to profit from my success in this network marketing business. And she said, okay, I'm going to put you in touch with this guy. And I was like, okay, great. So she texts this leader in the business, and she tells him that, I want to work with him, or she suggests that I work with him. And he was like, fine. And I texted him a little bit. And then like the next week or maybe 2 weeks later, I called him. And he sat up in bed, which I did not know that he had been in bed for 4 months. And he was like, hold on a second. And he sat up in bed, and we immediately hit it off. And it's funny because we both have the same birthday. And the day that I got sort of the intuitive download was on my birthday.
That's cool.
Yes. So we connected with each other, and we were really hitting it off. And he's in Texas, and I'm in New York. And, you know, he's got his family and kids there. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the very next day after I went through that manifestation process, things were already rolling, you know, happening to create this exact person that I wanted, that I asked for in my life. And still to this day, he's my closest friend. So, and this man earns $30,000 to $40,000 a month. You know, he's a business leader. He's always being given new ideas and being asked to, you know, do new startups and things like that. When I was having, like when my car died a few years ago, I drove his Lexus for a few months. And it's just, he's been very supportive of me. And the thing that I've learned most from him is how to act wealthy. Money comes to him like he's breathing. We'll be somewhere in like a sporting goods store, and his phone will go cha-ching, 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 and we'll be standing there, and he'll be making money while he's, you know, buying, you know, $400 worth of equipment. So he's shown me how to live that vibration, and you know, I've gotten it, you know. Sometimes I'm in it and sometimes I'm not. And I've been looking for the thing that will help me to get there. And I feel like in this new work, that is really helping me to really solidify my vibration in that. So now I'll talk about this work. So then after that, after I realized, okay, here's the thing that I can do for myself, I still was like, okay, how do I replicate that thing that happened at Unity Village? How do I, you know, facilitate, you know, instant, basically miraculous change on behalf of somebody else? And I was listening to actually somebody that you had recommended on one of your calls, somebody who does like a healing kind of thing, and she helped me to put the pieces together. And what she did was she just spoke, but she spoke things of, you know, this will happen, that will happen. And it did, but I was a little reserved about her because she said that she was the only one that could do it, and I didn't believe that to be true. I said, you know what, that's not true. If you can do it, and I want that gift, anybody can have that gift if they want it. So I wanted to actually hire her to do work with me, to work privately with me. And I couldn't, like, she was not doing private work. She's not doing group work. She's not doing anything that I could find. And so I was like, okay, this is my gift to have. And I made a decision. That's an important statement. I actually made the decision that gift was going to be mine. And, you know, I didn't ask. I didn't, you know, I wasn't like, you know, praying and hoping. I decided that was going to be mine. And then I practiced. I started practicing in my own language, that very same thing. And it's amazing because it didn't take me very long, only a couple weeks before I was like, okay, I think I have this practice down. Let me start sharing this with people. And instantly people were like, holy mackerel, this is so powerful. And, you know, I haven't felt this before. And so I'm really excited to be sharing it because it's like, you know, 10 years worth of, okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I replicate that? And now I feel that I'm at the point where it just comes. It's because I believe my faith in the understanding that everything is one, and my conscious awareness that anything that anybody can do, if there is an idea within consciousness, and this is important, if there is any idea within consciousness of a possibility of anything, then that thing is already possible, because we don't have consciousness. We are consciousness. And every single idea that's out there is an aspect of who we already are. And as that consciousness of all that is, and as a vehicle through which consciousness lives, absolutely anything that we can perceive can and already is ours. We just need to decide that it is.
I love it. I love it. And I'm happy to hear you say that you just decided, because I think that we discount the power of our decision making on that kind of level. We've all heard it. It's come down through the ages that Christ said, these things ye can also do, and these things and more. And we've had that infused into our cellular memory over the ages, but yet we don't believe it, or we're reluctant to try it, or we don't know how to go about it. I love it that you just decided that you were going to manifest this gift, this work that you had a knowing, just like you said. That's so cool. I love it.
Thank you. I think it's really cool too. It's like my, it's like my thing now. It's like, wow, this is the thing I've been asking for 22 years, and I didn't even know it, and this is it, and I am so grateful that I chose it. That I chose it.
It's fantastic. Let me ask you, Kerri, what is the difference between law of attraction work and what you're doing?
What I perceive law of attraction work as being is like that it's in the name itself, law of attraction, as if you need to attract things to you, as if they're not already there. And when you're trying to attract something to you, just in that the phraseology alone, it's telling you, I don't already have it.
Oh.
And yes. And from my perspective, because I perceive, and this comes down, and I believe, Malinda, the reason that I can do this is because of my perception. A lot of it has to do with my perception of the reality in which I live. But in the consciousness alignments, all I'm doing is I'm aligning your consciousness, your personal consciousness, getting rid of the limiting beliefs and the things that are in the way of your desires. You already know what your desires are. Your consciousness, the consciousness that is all that is pulling you, is drawing you, is asking you to say yes, yes, yes to all of these things. And it's already yours. It's already there. Consciousness has already created all of it. It's all there already for you now. All of it. It's already there for you now. It's always been there for you. And what law of attraction does is it tells you, okay, it's not quite mine yet. It's not mine yet. And so we do all these affirmations and we do all this stuff to try and attract it to us instead of just claiming it. And what I do is and I just get rid of all the gunk that's in the way so that you naturally align with that thing. And it's not, Malinda, it's not like, if you want to be a millionaire, it's not like you're going to be laying in your bed and all of a sudden $1 million are going to, fall out of the ceiling. But what this work does is it aligns you to naturally follow the path of your greatest fulfillment.
Okay. Well, you just segued right into my next question, which is, what is a consciousness alignment?
Okay. Well, what I do is I will actually access this from my awareness, the superconscious mind, because I perceive that you are me, I am you. Everything in this reality that we perceive is one consciousness. And so what I do is I go into that super conscious mind that is all that is, and I basically just direct or, ask that things be removed from the asker, which would be, in this case, if you were asking me, it would be you, that are in the way of the things that they want. So, for example, when we, spoke the other day, you had certain things that you wanted to experience, and then there were certain things that were in the way of you experiencing that.
Right.
So what we did, so I just removed that stuff and, asked that you be aligned with the manifestation of that experience. And that's what happened.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. This is so fascinating to me. And I love your conviction about it. Just when you're talking about it, when you're describing it, your conviction and your passion is so evident. It's just like, this is the way it is, which I love that. I mean, I think that's what Christ did. That's what he did. He knew. He had conviction and passion, and he knew this is the way it is. So, yeah, really, really something. Well, I know that our listeners would love to experience some of your work. So is this a good time for you to do that? Okay.
It's a great time. I'm feeling fired up now. So,
okay.
I'm going to do 3 mini, consciousness alignments. And a lot of times, the thing that gets in the way the most is the lower vibrational stuff. It kind of pulls people down, and that's like guilt, shame, blame, self-judgment, self-worthiness, all of that mucky stuff.
Sure.
And just so everybody knows, I free flow. So if I stumble over a word here or there, just forgive me.
You are human.
I just let it flow through. I don't script anything. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to release the guilt, shame, blame, feelings of unworthiness, all of that. And then we're going to move into being the flow of all, of everything. Because what we tend to do is if we want something in our lives, we're still affirming that we don't have it. That wanting in itself is affirming that we don't have it. So whether it's a love relationship or good health or money or whatever it is, a new car, whatever it is, appreciation, anything, we tend to turn off the spigot. And so if you just imagine there's this, huge river of whatever it is that you want that's flowing to you, but you have your hose turned off. So it can't come through the hose. And the way we turn off our hose or our spigot is that we sort of cling to whatever it is that we've got. So let's say you're looking for a love relationship. We might tend to make poor decisions, like if you're on an online dating site or something like that. You might not listen to your intuition and not honor yourself, and you might say, oh, okay, well, I'll give this guy the benefit of the doubt, even though he feels creepy to you. Or you might put all these feelers out there and be like, this is not working, because what you're not doing is you're not allowing yourself to trust yourself, and in trust is love. So you're not allowing yourself to believe in your divine connection and your ability to attract the perfect person in your life. So what you'll do is you'll just, throw out all these different feelers, and you'll get back, like toothless people with, no ambition in life. Or, you'll get these people that feel really, really creepy that you're like, ick, and you won't be able to attract the right person to you because you're in this state of, I don't have. So that's a not loving yourself thing. So you turn off the spigot there. And when it comes to things like money, you turn off, you hoard. You end up hoarding, and you are in a state of, panic because you don't want to spend money because you don't have it. Well, it can't come in if you're not demonstrating to the universe that you trust in yourself and in the universe. So it's something that's really difficult for a lot of people. And then we'll work on procrastination, which is something that a lot of people have.
Yeah,
so
that's a big problem too.
Yeah. So I'm just going to start. I'm just going to take a few deep breaths.
Okay, and if you'll let me know when you're finished, because I don't want to interrupt you.
I will.
I will. Yeah, just say something or give me a signal.
Yeah, between each one, I'm going to tell everybody to take a deep breath, and then I'll move on to the next one. And I'll tell you that I'm done.
Okay, great.
So, and in order for everybody to receive this, you just need to be open and receptive. If saying something to yourself like yes, yes, yes works for you, then great, but you don't even have to do that. You just have to be open and receptive. If you don't want to experience this at all, I recommend you don't listen. So, that's your choice. So here we go. Thank you, divine consciousness that lives in, through, and as the person listening to this call. Thank you for now removing any guilt, shame, blame, feelings of unworthiness, self-doubt, judgment that this person has for themselves as they see it reflected in others in their life. Thank you for doing this now. It is already done. It is already done. Thank you for already removing all the guilt, shame, blame, self-judgment, self-worthiness, self-doubt from this person's family lineage, going back down 10 generations from their mother's side of the family and their father's side of the family, removing it from every strand of DNA, every vibrating molecule and every spinning atom. Thank you for removing that from this person's family lineage. All of these feelings, all of these lower vibrational feelings of shame, blame, guilt, self-doubt, unworthiness, all of those feelings. And thank you for replacing that with a new consciousness now. Thank you. It is already done. It is already done. And thank you for creating a new consciousness in this person that they have inherited from their mother's side of the family and their father's side of the family, going back 10 generations across all time, space, dimension, and reality, that this person has a new consciousness in their entire being that no longer supports the idea of having those lower vibrational ideas. And thank you for empowering this person with a new consciousness that they have inherited from these 10 generations of their family lineage so that they no longer have these feelings. And thank you for replacing that with something even better now. It has already happened. It has already happened. Thank you. The idea is within consciousness that it can happen, so it has already happened. Thank you for it. It has already happened. It has already happened. Thank you. It is done. It is done. Okay, take a deep breath. And push it all out. And I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes. How did you feel on that one, Malinda? Did you feel something on that?
Oh, yeah. I definitely felt something. It really just, it felt like, for me, just a big relief, almost like a pushing of energy out of me.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah,
just so everybody knows, I can't feel these. I just facilitate it, but I don't feel them, so I ask. So anyway, okay, that's great.
Yeah,
all right.
And if any listeners would be, if you'd like to share some feedback, just go into the Q&A area and put your comments in, because I'm sure that Kerri would love to hear it, and I would as well. So feel free to do that.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to do the next one, and that one's going to be on becoming the flow. Thank you, divine consciousness that lives in, through, and as the person listening to this recording and this call. Thank you for already releasing all of the doubts and fears that this person has to allowing themselves to be that which they desire, whether it's wellness, whether it's wealth, whether it's healthy relationships, whatever that thing is. Thank you for releasing the fear that this person is clinging to that tells them that they do not already have it. Thank you for releasing that from every level of consciousness, every strand of DNA, every spinning atom and every vibrating molecule, every moving cell within their body. Thank you for removing this consciousness from them that they fear, that they do not allow the flow to move in through and as them. Thank you for creating a new consciousness in them where they no longer have these feelings, where they feel trust themselves and they feel confident that they are that which they desire. Thank you for already creating this consciousness in this person that they are already that which they desire now. It is already done. Thank you for creating this consciousness down their mother's side of the family and their father's side of the family, this trust in themselves that everything that they want, everything that they've ever wanted is already theirs now, and all they need to do is decide to become the flow of that thing. Thank you for turning the spigot on their behalf so that they don't have to do it. They don't have to do any particular thing. And thank you for naturally and easily turning it on for them so that they can naturally and easily trust and become the flow, that no particular process is needed on this person's behalf for them to be the flow of that which they desire now. Thank you for creating this down 10 generations on their mother's side of the family and 10 generations on their father's side of the family to inherit a new consciousness where they know that they can trust themselves and trust the consciousness that they are. Thank you for creating this new consciousness within this person now. Thank you for creating this new consciousness within this person now, where they release all of those fears, all of those doubts, all of those self-judgments, and they become the flow of that which they are. It is already done. It is already done now. It is already done now. Thank you. It is already done. It is done. Okay. Take a deep breath. And push it all out. And take another deep breath. And push it all out. And I'm going to just take a drink here.
Okay. So, Malinda, did you feel anything with that one?
I definitely did. Oh, yeah. This is really powerful and interesting work, and I personally really resonate with the words that you're using and the power of your voice, the inflection, and the particular words that you're using. And I know that you don't script any of this, but it's remarkable the way you pull in those powerful words. It is done, and now. It's like, stamped. It's done. I love that. It has a lot of energy and a lot of power.
Well, thank you. Well, Now we're going to do one where to hopefully help people move into the state of action, because that's, action is the opposite of procrastination. So, so what we're going to do is we're going to move people out of procrastination and into action for, doing the things that they want. Because, like we talked about in the beginning of the call, I made this decision that this gift was going to be mine. And, it may not seem like it was, like an action, like driving somewhere, but actually it was. It was an action. The decision was an action. So it was, movement within consciousness that, helped things to sort of line up. And through action is how things, line up for us. If we just sit there and we can meditate and pray and do all that stuff all day long, but until we take that inspired action, we're not, the universe is not going to be convinced that we're convinced, that we have that conviction of this is what I want and I'm taking action now. So that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to do the procrastination piece.
Great.
So. Thank you, divine consciousness that lives in, through, and as this person listening to my voice. Thank you for removing all the fear that's in the way that is keeping them from taking inspired action. Thank you for removing all of the doubts, all of the limitations, all of the beliefs that they have, all of the fears that they have that are in the way of keeping them from taking an inspired action, from taking action at all in any direction, because any action will then be corrected. Thank you for removing those doubts and fears so that this person can take action and stop procrastination. Thank you for removing all of the attractor fields that this person has within their energetic being that make them procrastinate. Thank you for removing it from their mother's side of the family and their father's side of the family, going back 10 generations. Thank you for removing it from every strand of DNA, every level of consciousness across all time, space, dimension, and reality within this person's lineage. And thank you for creating a new consciousness in this person where they trust themselves and they trust their inspired action and they take action now, because the universe works in a way that allows us and supports us in our action. It's our thought, word, and deed. Thank you for creating an inspiration in this person to take action on the thing that they desire now, whether it's giving, opening that flow for relationships, for health and well-being, and supporting that in their life and the lives of others, whether it's financial or whatever those things are. That thing is that person is feeling that they have absent in their life. Thank you for removing that feeling and for creating this action, for leading them to an inspired action now. It is already done. It is already done. Thank you for creating a new consciousness in this person where they feel confident and secure that the action that they take is inspired because it is a thought within consciousness. They cannot fail. They cannot fail. It is impossible for this person to fail. Thank you for creating a consciousness within this person that they know that it is impossible for them to fail. And all they need to do is take that inspired action, and it is done. It is done. It is done. Thank you for creating this consciousness within this person now. It is already done. It is done now. Thank you. It is already done. Thank you. It is already done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It is already done now. Okay. Take a deep breath. And push it all out. And then take another one. And push it all out. And I'm done. You wanted me to let you know why I was done.
I don't even know what to say. I'm just kind of, oh my gosh, this is really something. There is just a lot of energy. The way I experienced this one was almost like, the word that comes to mind is like a whirlwind, that your words just kind of began to just grab those attractor fields, those fears, those blocks, and just swirl them up and out of the picture.
Wow, great, thank you.
Very cool. And I'd love to hear what you listeners are experiencing. If you'll add your comments into the Q&A, that would be so appreciaed. Oh, my goodness, Kerri, this is such cool work you're doing, and it's so very needed. I really appreciate you giving us these gifts of the consciousness alignments for these things today. But listeners, I want to tell you there's more. There is a lot more that Kerri can do to help you with total alignment of your consciousness. And she's put together a fantastic special offer package for us. She calls this her Unleash the Conscious Creator Within. And this is the work that you just experienced, but in a much more expanded way to cover all the areas of your life. And this is a package that is fully downloadable. It's 5 MP3 consciousness alignments, also 5 Keys to Conscious Creation video program. Mm-hmm. And this will cover these sorts of topics for you: gaining clarity about what you want, releasing the blocks in your way, learning how to ask so the universe can deliver, becoming irresistibly magnetic to your desires. And that will allow you to just sit back and watch as your creation unfolds. And the consciousness alignment audios, the topics that she covers are financial well-being. She does an alignment for that, a positive relationships alignment, a good health alignment, a spiritual alignment, and a dream fulfillment alignment. So this is really an action-packed and very full package of help for you, video and audio. And Kerri's put this all together for you at a really special price. It's just $97. And I know those of you that were listening were impressed, and I know I was just astonished at the power of these alignments. And so take advantage of this special offer package and give yourself this beautiful gift of Kerri's work. Kerri, is there anything that you'd like to add as far as information about this special offer?
Yes, I would like to just talk about the 5 keys for a minute.
Sure.
What that is, that video program is, it helps you to work on your own, to manifest your own stuff. Every time I've used the 5 keys process, which is very clearly and succinctly outlined, it's not full of fluff or anything because I'm just not a fluffy kind of girl. It very succinctly leads you step by step through what to do, through your own creation process, so that when you are, having something in your life that you want yourself, that you can do that. And it's simple as well. So it's not hard to remember. I would recommend going through it a few times, and then after that, you will notice significant changes in your life every time that I've used that process myself. And I've gone through every single step. I mean, I'm not, I'm human, so sometimes I'm like, yes, sometimes I'm like, I got this down. I mean, especially since I created, I'm like, yeah, I got that. And I'll skip a step and I'll be like, well, that thing didn't, manifest. And generally the step that I, have the most difficulty with is the last step in the process, which is, I think what a lot of people probably experience. But I talk about, how to do it, and I just, I take a shortcut, and that's when it doesn't manifest. But when I don't take that shortcut, it always, 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 always has manifested. So I would highly encourage people, I'd highly encourage people to learn it and use it because it works.
I have a question, Kerri. Do you recommend that people listen to the consciousness alignment audios before they start working through the Conscious Creation program, the 5 Keys to Conscious Creation, or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter, but it might actually be advantageous to work through the Consciousness Alignment program, because then you got a lot of your stuff out of the way, and it might be easier to facilitate those shifts that you want in your life through the 5 Keys video program. It might just be easier, because when we're working with other people, for whatever reason it seems easier to facilitate change for other people when we're working with them, but then for ourselves it's not always quite as easy. So I would recommend, I think that's a great way of going about it, and I hadn't thought of that before, so thank you for recommending that. Oh, yeah,
sure. It occurred to me that, with the consciousness alignment, I mean, those are they're just so packed with energy and help and clearing that, why not have as much out of the way as possible before you begin to work on conscious creation.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. That's a great point.
Well, I'm kind of blown away by the power and velocity and energy of your work, and I'm really excited about it. And I love it that you have claimed this for yourself, and I love it that you are telling everyone that they can do it too.
Well,
thanks, Kerri. Thank you
You're very
so
welcome.
much. This is some really remarkable work, and it's work that is timeless, but it's also right on time. Right on time. We really need this now.
Yep.
Yes. Well, I can't thank you enough, Kerri, for being with us today. This has been very, very interesting, very powerful, and I know we'll get we'll get a lot of feedback that I'm sure will be quite interesting from the listeners. Listeners, do take advantage of Kerri's special offer. This is really a life-changing opportunity for you to have your consciousness aligned in all areas, and also it's an opportunity for you to learn a very understandable, step-by-step, uncomplicated approach to creating what you want, what your heart desires. So take advantage of it. If you're listening on the phone, know that there will be a link in every email that you see to the special offer. And if you are on your computer, just click right into the button that says Kerri's special offer. And it will be available to you and downloaded for you immediately. Kerri, thank you so much. Bless you.
You are so very welcome.
Oh, bless you for your powerful and beautiful work, and may you just thrive.
Thank you so much, Malinda. Thank you so much for having me on here, and for allowing me this platform to share this work, because it's just I love it. I feel like it's phenomenal. It's an answer to my dream. So
yes. Yes.
Well,
it's an honor for me, and it's a joy to have you here. So, listeners, thank you for being with us. Do listen again. I have a feeling that each time you listen, that the consciousness alignments will go deeper and provide more benefit for you. And do take advantage of Kerri's special offer, which covers all the things that we didn't have time to cover today. So, at a great price. Kerri, thank you and bless you. Listeners, thank you and bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye for now.